Well, Nike has suspended its relationship with controversial NBA star Kyrie Irving, the company announcing it's also canceling the release of Irving's new shoe. It comes after the Brooklyn Nets guard promoted an anti-Semitic movie on social media last week.
Somebody brought that to Kyrie. Now, Myles Leonard was just a journeyman guy. He's not Kyrie. But to prove a point, they will make an example. And Kyrie would have been made an example of, and he understood that. This was serious business.
I feel like this Kyrie Irving situation has gotten so out of hand to the point where it at one point wasn't even about basketball, but now that there is a lot of basketball involved, I can properly talk about it. I tried avoiding all the anti-Semitic stuff because I didn't want to get involved because I didn't feel like that I was proper to talk about it. However, now I feel more confident than ever what I'm saying, so I want to talk about it today as it's still pretty relevant. To summarize what's happened this past week, and it has been exactly a week ever since everything happened, I'm going to summarize it pretty quickly. So last week, to start it off, Kyrie Irving posted a link to a documentary called Hebrews to Negroes. Now the documentary is about how black people were the first Jewish people, and at first I didn't understand what they meant. I thought they were saying like literally like black people are Jewish people, but what they meant essentially is that black people went through a lot of problems before Jewish people, which I think a lot of us already knew, but to be fair, I wasn't the best in history, so I could be wrong. But the whole reason why people were even pissed off he showed that specific documentary is because one, the documentary is not based on truth according to a lot of people. Two, in the documentary, they were very hateful towards Jews and they were blaming them for the reasons they believed. So that's the whole reason why everyone was pissed off. And I can understand it because not everyone did watch the documentary. However, when people did, they ended up understanding that, yeah, the reports weren't far off. Not too long after, Josai comes on and says that he does not condone any of the things that Kyrie Irving has been saying or promoting. Which to that point, Kyrie Irving would come out in multiple press conferences and say that he didn't actually promote the documentary, but I think that's kind of a lie. Because when you have a platform with over millions and millions of people and you post a documentary about something, obviously people are going to look into it and you're promoting it. But hold on, maybe I'm wrong. So I took a look at this Google Trends chart that shows the documentary's popularity from, in the past and then when Kyrie posted it. Even if his intentions weren't to promote the documentary, he sure damn did that. Now, there were multiple times where Kyrie would back down what he said, where he said that he didn't mean any of the anti-Semitic stuff, which I can understand because there's a chance that Kyrie didn't even watch the documentary. Kyrie is for Black excellence, so I'm sure he just saw the title and said, I'm gonna post this, not realizing what he said. And I hope that's not true because when you post something like that to your platform, I would like to think you at least know what's being said. During this time, Kyrie Irving lost a sponsorship, and that was with Nike, as Nike decided to suspend the partnership because obviously they don't want their name tied to this. And a lot of people brought up the fact that Nike has, I would say, a pretty dark past, which I'm definitely not going to get into in this video. Now, after Nike suspended its partnership around that time, something happened that I knew would basically end Kyrie Irving's career, which I think is what's happening right now. I'm pretty sure that's going to be in the title. But Kanye West himself posted a picture of Kyrie. Now, I don't know how many of you people know what Kanye West has been doing, but just to say the least, I think Kyrie Irving and Kanye West are starting to intertwine with the things they do now. I'm sure someone in the comment section will make what I'm saying pretty clear, but yeah, Kanye West hasn't exactly been in the brightest spotlight lately. From that, we transition into what happened yesterday when Kyrie Irving was suspended for 5 games. And that is at the minimum. As of right now, they haven't said that it's going to be more than that, but with the way things are looking, I think it's going to be more indefinite. After that, Kyrie Irving did post an apology on his Instagram, which does not really look like him saying it because, well, Kyrie Irving like hours earlier did a press conference where he didn't say any of the things that he said. But hey, he got an apology out there, right? Well, if you ask me and a bunch of people, I would say this was a pretty disingenuous apology. Only after he lost his Nike sponsorship, after the NBA suspended him, after everyone and their mom came after him, he finally decided to apologize for the things he said, which at the end of the day, if he started it off within like the first tweet that he made and he then apologized, I'm sure we wouldn't be here. But with the shit that the NBA is dealing with right now, and the Brooklyn Nets as a whole, their whole organization, how they're dealing with a bunch of shit, this does not need to be happening. Before I transition into the Brooklyn Nets segment where I talk about how the team is doing and how Kyrie's gonna affect them and his trade value and all that stuff, I just want to say that this whole situation could have been avoided, but it wasn't. And now the fact of the matter is that Kyrie Irving's career could basically be over because of it. And the unfortunate reality is that Kyrie Irving is such a great player, but it seems like no one's gonna want him after this because he's coming to the end of his contract and he can sign with whoever he wants. And unfortunately, there's not that many teams that that are going to give him a good contract because he's such a headache to have. Maybe there's a chance that he recovers from this, but with the way it looks right now, I don't think that's going to be happening. As far as basketball goes, the Brooklyn Nets are in a very bad situation right now. The team's record is not good, and they're not playing well overall, which I did talk about in a previous video. Like, there are so many things wrong with the roster. They don't exactly have their two stars on the same page, as it looks like Kevin Durant might be requesting a trade very soon. I must say that it wasn't actually confirmed, but I'm just telling you with the way things look and the way I've seen things play out in the past that it could very much lead to that. Regardless though, Kevin Durant does not look like he's happy, and Kyrie Irving is, well, playing Kanye West, so that's not exactly helping the Nets either. And even just all controversy aside, Kyrie Irving is still suspended for 5 games, so for the next 5 games, and again, that's a minimum. He could be suspended for like a whole month or two if Adam Silver is just like, yeah, he doesn't deserve to come back into the league. So this could be a very long process for Kyrie to get back in. Now, Ben Simmons, I've been very critical of, but this man does not know what he's doing right now. He has been very ineffective for this team, which was kind of the biggest problem that they were going to be facing. The Brooklyn Nets roster is constructed in a way where they have 3 really good players of value, and then the rest are kind of mediocre, but that's okay because the big 3 is supposed to lead them. And while Ben Simmons, who is one of the people in the big 3, isn't playing well, Kyrie Irving is suspended and always dealing with controversy, and Kevin Durant is starting to age. So as you can tell, when they've been playing recently, they haven't been getting a lot of wins, and overall they look like a bad team. And I think we're at the point where there's really no return. This Brooklyn Nets team is not going to be good for a while, and they should straight up just start looking to do a rebuild. I would trade Kevin Durant to either the Suns or Heat or whatever team he wants to. Obviously I'm a Suns fan, so I'm gonna say that, but Kevin Durant himself did say those were his 2 preferred teams when he did request a trade back in free agency, so I'm not just making it up. However, now times are different because these teams like the Heat, the Suns, even the Sixers were there at one point, they have more leverage than Sean Marks does. Sean Marks was asking for an all-star and a bunch of picks, but that price is probably going to be cut in half because you're at a point where you got to just get rid of these people. If you tank for Victor Wembanyama and you possibly build around some of these bench guys that could develop and have Patty Mills be a veteran point guard, then I think maybe they have potential in the future. Hell, a part of me is saying trade for D'Angelo Russell and bring back old Brooklyn D'Lo, as that was a very special time. But seriously, that 2018-2019 Brooklyn team had so many different vibes on the team. It was more of building a culture than trying to build a super team. And truth be told, if that roster waited a couple more years, I really think they would have started contending in the East and maybe even make it to the finals at one point if they got like one more piece. If they got just Kevin Durant from free agency and they didn't have to let go of anyone, then I think that team easily could make it to the finals. Who knows, maybe they would have even won a title. That team was very special, and I feel like Brooklyn needs to try to recreate that. But unfortunately, they're in such a deep hole where they don't have many of their draft picks and they have a lot of contracts coming up that they need to address. So it looks like Brooklyn for a while is not going to be contending, and they're going to have to refix their roster. Because with Brooklyn's issues on top of Kyrie Irving and what he's been doing, it looks like Brooklyn could be suffering for a while.